with, our class, or the first signing period of our class. It was a good day today. It was important for us to find players that were tough, love football, and love Colorado State. We had 4 signees from the state of Colorado. The most in a class since the 2005 spring class signed 5. Brian Crespo is the first Fort Collins native we've signed since 2015. Max McDonald. Numbers of the signees said they wanted to come to Colorado State regardless of the coaching, love Colorado State, and it was a dream school for them. 9 signees representing 5 states, 4 from Colorado, 2 from Texas, 1 each from Florida, California, and Pennsylvania. By position, 2 defensive linemen, 2 defensive backs, 1 each offensive lineman, tight end, linebacker, running back, and athlete. Expect as many as 3 to enroll early: Henry Blackburn, Kewan Herndon, and Casey Irons. Talk about each one of these guys briefly. Henry Blackburn, defensive back from Boulder, Colorado, Fairview High School, 5'11", 189, two-way starter for Fairview, top flight receiver, ball hawk in his secondary. Great kid, great passion for CSU. Brian Crespo, offensive line, 6'5", 317 from Fort Collins High School, Fort Collins rather, a big local run blocker. Will be a first-generation college student. I think a raw guy that has a lot of potential. Brandon Guzman, defensive back, 5'10", 172 from Covina, California, Charter Oak High School. He's a playmaker on both sides of the ball. Senior year shortened by injury, but still had a kick return interception for scores. Just a great guy, really emotional guy when he had an opportunity to come here, and that came together, and you could see how much it meant to him, which was impactful. Kewan Herndon, running back, 5'9", 175 from Jacksonville, Florida, Trinity Christian. An explosive runner. He rushed for more than 1,800 yards as a senior, had Power 5 offers, and was committed previously to Maryland. Tanner Hollins, athlete, 6 foot, 194 from Littleton, Colorado, Columbine High School, Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Colorado, rushed for more than 4,000 yards his career at Columbine. Another guy that just kind of can do it all. Really well-rounded athlete, really had a passion to be here. Casey Irons, defensive line, 6'3", 237 from Gilmer, Texas, Gilmer High School. Top 100 defensive end nationally, disruptive as a pass rusher against the run. First commitment of the class overall. Really great potential. James Mitchell, D-line, 6'1", 278, Duncanville, Texas, Duncanville High School. Really great run stopper in the middle, explosive guy, really fine player. Championship experience as his team is in the 6A state title game for the 2nd consecutive year. Dylan Walker's a tight end, 6'4", 236 from Royersford, PA, Pope John Paul II. 2A tight end, turned 34 catches and 10 touchdowns, committed to Bowling Green originally, came to CSU. Terrific kid, great family, and I've had a relationship with him for a while. Chase Wilson, linebacker, 6'1", 198 from Arvada, California, Ralston Valley High School. He's a great athlete, three-sport standout, smart leader, was a captain, carries a 3.9 GPA. Really is a guy that is going to be, I think, quite a player here, and a great student athlete, great representative of what it's about to come to CSU and be a Colorado guy. So that's kind of our class. Quickly, happy to answer any questions for you guys.
I guess the number one question, just how did you manage to kind of work everything with just getting this job 7 days ago?
Well, I think the staff did a great job here. I was able to come in and meet with them and visit with them and get my arms around it quickly. Got out on the road, made sure we had an official visit weekend. Got some guys in here, that visited, so I could meet them and introduce myself to them. Had some guys that had already tripped, came up and had them, unofficially come up so I could meet them. Been on the phone. The guy said the guys here. Got them out on the road quickly on Friday and Saturday. And, just tried to get my arms around this as fast as I could get my arms around it. It's been a whirlwind since Thursday on every front. And that's, part of recruiting. You're fighting the clock, but you're also trying to make sure I have an understanding of our roster and where we have deficiencies, where we need to get more players, what spots, so that as we're going through this, I can make sure that we're attacking this and putting our numbers right where they belong. I've been through this before. So I've had experience a few times doing this, and had kind of a pretty systematic approach to it so that we could maximize the first signing period. Of course, there'll be a second signing period, and we have a lot more work to do.
To that end, why was it important to get Friday, get FaceTime, get down there immediately, 24 hours, sight unseen, to meet guys,
just felt like it's really important here that we make a priority in the state of Colorado. And so I want to make sure that, you know, high school coaches knew that I was going to get out there and visit a couple guys that, you know, we were looking at and hadn't offered yet, and wanted to make that happen. And I'll continue to do that when we get back on the road. And I'll make sure that we cover the state in its entirety. And I will also get out in January, in-state as well as out-of-state.
So you said you've done this before, but this is the first time since with that early signing period where
True.
you had quite such a condensed window. Normally you'd have a month
Yeah.
or two still to pull something together.
Right.
Just how much more challenging was that? You've got a staff, some guys who probably aren't going to be around. You're bringing in a new staff, some of whom are probably already helping you. Just how do you juggle all that?
You know, I'm a pretty straightforward guy. I came in, met with the staff that's here, and got to work with them. They're professionals. They did a fabulous job. It's a great opportunity for me to get to know them. It's a great interview process. And I thought they handled it unbelievably. And they're great to be around. I enjoyed being around these guys. And so as I go, you know, I kind of do things in steps. I knew this was the priority, to get in here, to meet our team, to meet with each kid individually, to get to know the staff, go through the whole roster with the staff, formulate the recruiting board and plan, what was here and the way I like to do it, then meet with everybody here individually, go on the road. And so now as I finish this sequence, the next sequence will be that, you know, I think I've learned as much as I can learn about the staff, about our roster, about our recruiting. And then I'll, you know, when I leave here for break, what I'm going to do is evaluate everything and see what are the best fits for Colorado State as I put together a staff. And we'll see how that goes. And I've been upfront and honest and straightforward and treated everybody with respect, the way they should be and the way they deserve to be treated. And they were outstanding in this process. So really grateful to the coaches and the support staff here for the work that they did and the loyalty that they've had to see us here.
Obviously, it's 7 calendar days, but as far as actual recruiting contact period, you had 3 days, is that correct? Or is there some leeway given when a new...
You know, really 2 days that you could be on the road and 3 days that you could be engaged in the activity, you know.
Obviously, the class is a mix of guys that, you know, had previously committed. What are those conversations like, and what does it say about them, you know, to stick, you know, when obviously there's a big change from their perspective?
Well, yeah, I think the relationships they've had were key with existing coaches. You know, me trying to get in and make sure they know me, and I'm on the phone with them, and you know, extending some offers to some Colorado guys and some guys outside of Colorado. It's the whole process. You know, it's a challenge with this early signing period. I think when you have a staff change, a coaching change, it's a challenge. You know, considering a lot of guys, you know, sign in this early period, and you know, for me, I was used to signing most of my class in the early period. You know, and whether that'll still be the case here or not, you know, I need to see where that heads. You know, I like the early signing period, but I think in these situations, it's tough. You know, when there's a staff change, you're better off with the one late signing period. But you know, it is what it is, and it's a new normal, and you know, you just have to adapt to it.
What was your perception of high school football in Colorado coming in, and has it changed at all now that you've had a chance to evaluate some of these guys?
I really didn't have a perception of Colorado high school football. Had not done a lot of work in there. I've done a lot of work in California. I've done a lot of work in Texas. Done a lot of work in a lot of other areas. But personally, I had not been in here, so that would be hard for me to say. However, even just talking, looking, going on the road, meeting coaches, I realized some of these coaches I've met before. They know of me. You know, in my career, I did a lot of clinicking and got a chance to, in fact, I came into Denver nationally. So I know a lot of these high school coaches, you know, and it's amazing. You know, I've been in this a long time. I know them, they know of me, they've heard me speak. And so going on the road was really kind of fun, you know. Coach McCartney's son. I got a chance to meet him, and we had a lot of similar friends, and Jerry DiNardo, and who was on that staff there. So it was just, these are great guys, and getting in those high schools was great for me. I mean, football's football, and I certainly have seen some guys in some football that I feel really terrific about right now.
You mentioned how you had a previous relationship with Dylan Walker. Just how far does that relationship go back, and was he the only kid in the group of kids you signed that you had prior contact with?
I'd say yes. At this point, I had him in camp at my previous stop. I evaluated him. I coached him myself. I was involved with him, and so I knew him in great detail. Yeah.
Do you expect that you're done for this early period, or do you maybe have some stragglers coming? And I can't speak specifically on
I
it.
can't speak specifically, but yes, we will probably very likely have 1 or 2 stragglers for this period. I don't like to use the word stragglers, just
Right.
at this point in time. There's still time left to be had, and we would anticipate certainly 1, maybe 2.
How good a feel have you gotten for the existing roster? How many of those guys plan to stay around? I mean, transfers so prevalent these days, and when there's coaching changes, it tends to happen a lot. How comfortable are you, or do you feel like you have a pretty good handle on who's in, who's out, or is that still to be determined?
Well, I've met with a lot of them. I've met with them as a group twice, had dinner with them once, and met individually with most. So I don't know. I can't answer that. I think it's a process. Again, I run in here just as these guys are starting to go out for vacation. I won't see them again until, right after, till Martin Luther King Day. So I don't know that I can tell you I know the details of that. I think it's been great. I've had great meetings. I want to hold on to everybody. Is that realistic? I don't know. In this day and age, it's so talked about. All I can do is everything I can do to try to build a relationship, and be steady in the boat. And as I explained to them, change is hard, but change can be good. And they're going through a change. I'm going through a change. And all I can tell you is I'm going to treat them right, coach them hard, love them hard, build a relationship, and earn their respect. And that's the way I'm going to go about it. If someone decides in the end they don't want to be here, then they don't want to be here. And we move forward with the ones that want to be here, because we're going to build this thing and grow it, built on toughness, passion, loyalty, and if you're in, great, and if you're out, good luck. And we keep rolling. We got some fine guys here, and they're really good players. Now, it's understandable that change can create unsettledness. My experience with it is that, or my feeling and experience, change is going to occur in all of our lives. We need to learn how to handle that. Whether it's now or whenever, you're going to have to learn how to handle that. So I think it speaks to who you are and what you're all about, the ability to be steady in the boat. Boat's rocking, steady down. Don't rock it more. So my hope is that everybody wants to be a part of an exciting, dynamic program, one that's going to be passionate and fun and exciting, and I think there'll be a great opportunity here. And at the end of the day, it's too bad the world we're in right now with all these portals and social medias and everybody overreacting to everything. But that's where we are. The best you can do is have great open communication. And I'm a very direct, real, true person. What you see is what you get, and hopefully that comes across.
You said you've had a chance to look at your roster and you still have some more recruiting to do. What are your areas of target moving forward?
Offensive line is one of them for sure, without a doubt. And I would say, a scattered mixture of other positions. We've hit a lot of them, but I would say, offensive line is certainly a focal point from a standpoint of numbers.
when you made those individual dinners, were the quarterbacks that you have here, the two juniors, on your guest list, and how did they respond to your pitch, both Colin and Patrick?
Great. Had good meetings with both guys. Great young men, competitors, good people. So all went well.
Do you have kind of a set number of where you want to be by the time the February period ends? Because I know like the previous staff and a lot of staffs try to leave a couple spots maybe for a late JC guy or a grad transfer that might come available, or you just don't worry about that at this point?
Go 100 miles an hour, fill our needs, utilizing high school, utilizing fifth years. I'm open on all of it. You know, we have a number of guys that we're going to target, and we'll see where that brings us. If we get the right guys and we're full, good for us. If we have a couple spots left for the next wave, usually there's another wave in May. Problem with that is, you hold your spots for those guys, you better have a feeling whether you're really going to get them, otherwise you could get left short. So I'll evaluate all of it, you know, but I think, you know, I've used the fifth-year market before, and we'll see where that goes.
You said you got kind of a feel for the current staff a little bit, certainly through this process. Is there a feeling that you'd keep any of them around at this point, or is that too early to make that evaluation?
I'm considering all the above, and then I explain that to him. Yep.
Anything else? Is there a timetable for finalizing staff? Like 2 weeks?
I mean, is there ultimately a timetable? Yes. Yeah. I would say there's,
Share.
yeah. I mean, obviously, I want everything in place by the time we get ready to get back on the road. In a perfect world, you'd like to have everybody in place a week prior to that, so that you're completely, everybody's on board here and organized, so your shotgun out gives you whatever, 5 days. I mean, that would probably be the goal. And if that can happen, terrific. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You know, in this day and age of college football, you can even hire somebody, and then all of a sudden someone can come and poach them right after you hired them. I mean, all the above's intact. Listen, I've been on this dance before, and just steady in the boat, just keep plugging along with it. You know, I'm not going to ride that roller coaster. It's all part of it. Can't overreact to it. That's one of the reasons why I like to take my time. You know, like I said, I've been through this before. You know, going out and rushing doesn't serve you well. You build a puzzle, and then all of a sudden it's built a certain way, and then there's another change, and you can get yourself out of whack. So here's the good news. The good news is first signing period's over. The good news is there's going to be holidays and vacation and break. It's a good time to sort through that. Let the coaching carousel begin, especially on the assistant level. See where the dust settles. You have your targets. You're working on your targets. You're taking it all in, and then you start to put together your deal. That's, I think, the honest in the way that it needs to be done. Realizing that at the end of the day, it won't work out exactly the way you want it. There'll be some twists and turns that are still yet to happen. So.
Is that how kind of the recruiting process for this class had to go to, that you don't want to just throw a bunch of offers out there hoping to fill a class quickly? You had to be careful about who you were offering, make sure they were people that were still going to fit your overall scheme.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want to take young men into the program that, to the best of your ability, you feel are great fits. Now, got to rely on a lot of the evaluations done here, but I watched everybody. It's all part of it. You know, is that the perfect world? No, it's not the perfect world, but it worked out really well. I'm really excited about a bunch of these young men. I really am, and I think they're going to be really good fits. I'm excited about the young men from Colorado. You know what I like? I had a real passion to want to be here. That's half of it to me. You know, when you fill your roster with enough young men that really buy into Colorado State, and it's important to them. My experience is that, you know, there's a real glue there and a chemistry, and you start with a foundation. I think that's really important, you know. I realize here you're going to have to go out and recruit in other areas, as I mentioned, California, Texas. Of course, you pick, you know, I think you got to be judicious in what other areas you pick. But, man, we better be involved with those players that we feel we can develop right from within our state. And I think that's really important. I've got a sense of that here in the last week where, you know, I'm used to that 5-hour radius operation, you know, and so here what that means is really being targeted right here, because then it starts to, there's a lot of space out there, and now you're into a whole different area. So it's a little different. All the more reason to me, while with our camps, our evaluation of the in-state kids has got to be really good. And I feel that my background and where I've been as a head coach, I've had to go out and find those diamonds in the rough. Whether I was at Boston College or Temple, we weren't signing 4 and 5 stars. We were signing 2 or no stars. Yet, some 30-some-odd guys went on into the NFL. So I think it's important to identify, evaluate, and develop. So that has been my background. And that's something that is tangible and proven, and I'm proud of that. And that's going to have to happen here. And we have to have a staff full of good recruiters that are good evaluators and good developers. You know, you got to evaluate, you got to get them, and then you got to develop them. And you know, I think that's where the secret sauce is to me, is being accurate in that, you know. And so anyways, I think that's going to be the job that's at hand. So start here, inside, work out, expand to some bigger footprints, and do a great job focusing on character, toughness, passion, love of the game. Of course, along the way, you're taking some, you know, you always every once in a while have to, you know, take some chances too in there. So I think in this class to this point, we've got some talented guys, we've got some real character guys, we've got some guys that's real important to be here at Colorado State. We've got some character people from outside of this area, and we just need to continue to systematically add on to this, using the 5th-year market and using the second signing period. Good? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.